Wherever you are in the world, welcome to another edition of Jerry's Take on China. The subject of COVID tests for travelers from China is arousing a lot of commentary in recent media reports. Australia said they wouldn't require Chinese travelers to be tested. Then, in an abundance of caution, they backflipped and said they would. Japan said they would need a 48-hour test prior to flying, and then changed their minds and said they would require tests on arrival and 1-week quarantine for positive results. Morocco just said no and banned all travelers from China for the foreseeable future. Providing a 48-hour negative test result for international travel is not a bad idea, but it certainly has some detractors. There are some negative points. Some people ask, what's the point? And it's a fair question. When there are no COVID restrictions within a country, is it fair that there should be restrictions on entry to that country? Another criticism is that a test 48 hours before travel wouldn't seem to be much use. Living in a city without an airport means taking a test in that city and then on the day of travel getting onto public transportation, traveling to and then through the airport to wait at the gate. There are many potential opportunities to catch the virus, meaning the negative test in their hometown the day before a flight might be quite pointless. Testing on arrival might actually be a better option. There are valid reasons, however, for testing travelers, and one is the prospect of a potentially more dangerous variant entering a country. A variant strain could become less pathogenic or it become more so. It may be difficult to manage as it may evade vaccinations or fail to respond to therapeutics, or it could be less problematic. Nobody knows until it's been tested, sequenced, and observed for a period of time. Whatever the consequences of variant strains are, there is a very real prospect of them arising, and one that has already arisen is the XBB 1.5 variant, which has infected over 40% of the US cases and is sweeping through the UK. Some reports suggest that this variant is faster spreading and more evasive than other variants, and it even has a supercharged mutation, the F486P. This kind of situation has caused many health experts to worry. What's caused Chinese authorities to worry is not so much the prospect of variants or mutations, although they are rightly concerned about them. It's a completely different virus, the virus of politicism or even racism. Some countries are suggesting the reason is not the volume of cases in China, but the lack of transparency. This has been strongly refuted by China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs in their 5th of January press briefing, where they confirmed meetings with World Health Organization and the sharing of information on 4 different occasions since restrictions were removed in China. That was December the 9th, December the 30th, January the 3rd, and January the 5th. Furthermore, China has shared with the Global Initiative on Sharing Avian Influenza Data the genome data of the 2 strains currently active in the country, as well as information on the XBB 1.5 variant, which was found in Shanghai under quarantine conditions and brought into the country by a foreign traveler. Clearly, lack of information or transparency from China isn't the real cause. Countries introducing restrictions on Chinese travelers, which do not require the same degree of control over travelers from other countries, are doing this for other reasons. Those enhanced requirements from one country only, China, need to be seen for what they are. They're a two-pronged attack on China. The first part is a tit for tat. China has and will continue to require 48-hour negative test results from every person entering the country. This is not racist or political. This is a sensible precaution to ensure the health and safety of the people who live in the world's most populous country. It applies to everyone entering China, wherever they come from, whatever their ethnicity. Secondly, to suggest that China, and only China, needs to provide negative tests or tests on arrival, or even a complete ban of arrivals from China, is a political and racist approach to a global health problem. It's not helpful at all. It serves to dehumanize Chinese people in the eyes of those countries' populations. And it's not only harmful to global harmony, it's harmful to any country which practices it. It needs to be reiterated that China has, since identifying this virus in 2019, supplied information to the US CDC and the World Health Organization on December the 31st, 2019. It shared the genome sequence on January the 12th, 2020. It's provided open and transparent information ever since. It's shown equality in dealing with all nations through this pandemic, and it's shown global leadership in low-income and developing nations with vaccine donations, sales, and manufacturing partnerships. Even CNN's COVID timeline agrees. China discovered, shared, and warned the world. Transparency obviously isn't the issue. January the 8th is an important date. It's the date on which China reopens to the rest of the world. It's also the date on which some countries have chosen to exclude China and others to only allow conditional access on their terms. There are some reports of China lashing out at these restrictions. As usual, those reports are exaggerated. What the Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson actually said was very different to lashing out. She said, "We stand ready to step up communication with the rest of the international community and work together to prevail over COVID. Meanwhile, we do not believe the entry restriction measures some countries have taken against China are science-based. Some of these measures are disproportionate and simply unacceptable. We firmly reject using COVID measures for political purposes and will take corresponding measures in response to varying situations based on the principles of reciprocity." End of quote. It's likely and reasonable China will take measures when a country discriminates against Chinese citizens. But as usually happens, they will be accused of aggression for responding with that reciprocity. Thanks once again for watching Jerry's Take on China. Please do the usual thing, like, share, and subscribe. We need to get this message out. See you next time.